Right, that should be it, and we should be live. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Saints View, the channel for Southampton content. As we preview arguably the biggest game of the season, arguably the biggest game for quite a while at Southampton Football Club. It is a League Cup semi-final against Newcastle United, the first leg at St Mary's Stadium. Once again, I am joined by Liam and Rob. Boys, how are you doing?
Good, mate. Yourself?
Yeah, I'm all right. After watching the highlights back from yesterday, not as good as I was before, but we'll be talking about that, I'm sure. Rob, how are you, mate?
Yeah, I'm all right, man. Yeah, I'm good. I'm still not over a couple refereeing decisions yesterday, but I'm sure we'll get onto that.
Oh, we sure will. But before we get into anything, if you are watching live or on repeat, make sure you have hit that subscribe button with your notifications turned on if you haven't yet already. Give the video a thumbs up and follow us on all of our socials and follow the boys as well. Their links are in the description. And we will be joined later on by the Magpie channel to give us a bit of insight on all things Newcastle. But before we go into the game, obviously we're going to have a debrief on the Aston Villa game yesterday. We didn't get a review out and we kind of wanted to talk about it more now. Boys, now the dust is settled, I'll go to you first, Liam. It's a 1-0 defeat against, well, according to statistics, the second best team in the league right now. Is it a disappointment for you on paper? Obviously, we can talk about how the game went, you know, the performance, what happened in the game. But on paper, 1-0 defeat at home to one of the best teams in the league. Does that frustrate you?
Yeah, technically no. Obviously, on paper, we know Aston Villa got a much better side than us. A lot more money spent and a lot more quality when it comes to especially the final third. Probably defensively, there isn't much difference. I just think they're better organised and obviously, especially under Unai Emery. But like you said yesterday, it's just a tough one to take with the decisions. Like we'll get onto that in a minute. But you know, it was a game of marginal errors, and Villa took their opportunity, and it wasn't really what I think is a goal scoring opportunity because for me it should have been saved. It was poor keeping, and little errors like that are costing us points. So I think, in context of the game yesterday, I'd have taken a 0-0 draw, even though we'd like to win, but just to get like a clean sheet, and I just think some errors obviously cost us the game, and I think some tactical decisions from Jones cost us the game as well, especially when he took Edozie off. I think that just pretty much summed the game up. But obviously, it's gutting, but it's what it is.
Liam, do you think yesterday showed a lot of naivety from Jones and how quickly he is going to still have to adapt to managing at this level, despite the fact that he doesn't really have the time to do that?
No, definitely. But like I think we were saying yesterday, we and at the start of the second half, we were on top. We looked decent, and I think as soon as he took Edozie off, he just kind of it changed the game because we then went very, very defensive with 5 at the back, and he just allowed Villa to come back onto us, and in the end we like crumbled from a set piece, which is kind of usual, where like all the players step up and one player goes back, and that one player goes back, leaves them all on side. So it's just you got to be simple with the ball and stuff. We kept giving the ball away. We weren't helping ourselves, and yeah, I think Jones obviously needs to learn, but like you said, Danny, he doesn't have time to do that, especially with the situation we're in.
Rob, obviously it wasn't a classic first half, but I think we could be quite appeased given the fact that we were on course for a first home clean sheet in the league all season. But we go 1-0 up. Obviously, the goal is ruled out. Before I get your thoughts on the VAR decision, we're 1-0 up. Ward-Prowse has scored his whatever goal it is now. I mean, his run is a joke at the moment. But are you, at that point, are you confident that that goal can be enough to get us the 3 points? Had you seen enough to be convinced that that clean sheet was going to come?
Well, I think first and foremost, I thought first half, if not some of the second half, I thought Salisu and Slesar were pretty good. I thought as a defensive pairing, I wasn't really too scared. I thought that the main threat from Villa came in the half space just in front of them. When Dia was picking up the ball a lot between Diallo and Sally and just kind of running at them. That was yeah, that wasn't great to watch, because that's where Diallo has to really be breaking up the ball. But I think defensively we looked all right. Would I say that I'd be comfortable enough to say that we would have got a clean sheet? Probably not, because Villa was still creating all right chances. But we did, as Jones said in his post-match press conference, I think we did stop them creating big chances, apart from the obviously the free kick, which I don't know what the defensive line is. It's just very, very stupid defending. I think if Prowsey's goal goes in, obviously it's a massive what if, but maybe Jones's subs are different. Would it be correct to go to a back five if you're 1-0 up? Yeah, probably. I think, we obviously can't be dropping back towards our own goal as much as we did under Ralph with Jones in a back five. But I think the substitutions, as Juan has said there, were really key. I think bringing off a Dozy for Elianusi and then playing him in a pivot, or just on the right hand side with, I believe it was Diallo he played next to. I thought that was just ridiculous. And I know we're trying to manage Lavia's minutes, but seeing as we're trying to manage his minutes so much, at the weekend, then I'd like to think that he would play a full 90 against Newcastle in the semi-final, obviously depending on what the scoreline is come the 60th, 70th minute. In terms of us holding on, I'm not entirely sure if we would have, but I agree with Sam there. We did look defensively sound, and I think the key to us staying up is going to be scrappy games like that. We have to stay defensively sound. I thought Lianco didn't have an awful game at all. I thought he played all right. Same with KWP. For me, honest, KWP looked better on the right, in my opinion, when he moved onto that side in the second half. But yeah, I don't know. Obviously, I couldn't say whether we'd hold on or not, but it looked good. That's all. I mean, we were stopping them from having good open play chances. So possibly, and even a point is huge in our situation right now. So even if that goal is allowed and we still get a draw, we're going into Tuesday with more confidence, as we said on our last preview. So ifs and buts, really.
No, it obviously it's all perspective, isn't it? But I think, I think we said this last week. Nathan Jones is going to be one of those shithouse managers where when we win, you absolutely adore him, the passion he shows. And then when you lose, you get really frustrated. It seems that he'll blame anyone but himself. But credit's where credit's due. I know we lost the game yesterday, but for me now, after this run of 3 wins and yesterday, I am starting to see improvement. We do look better defensively. It's these set pieces that we keep shooting ourselves in the foot with.
I completely agree. Yeah.
But Liam, we'll go to that VAR decision. And I know you're going to be very passionate, but we're going to just have to keep it a little bit concise. Is the decision correct, in your view?
I'll tell you what, Dan. I'll explain it. When I was watching the game yesterday, obviously there at the game, I went mental when we scored because we were having massive beef between us and the Villa fans. It was just brilliant to score.
Ooh,
but as soon as I come back to my seat, I said to the guy next to me, I said to you, it's going to be chopped off. And he goes, why? And I've gone, Elianusi's fouled him. And at the time, I was like, yeah, I can see it as a foul. But when they showed it on the screen, I was like, you're having a joke. Because apparently this game has gone from being a contact sport to a non-contact sport. We might as well be playing cricket. So when I see it this morning and last night, I'm thinking, what the hell's going on? No one even saw like the little bit on the foot, but the more I watch it, the more I'm thinking he's absolutely played for that, and it ruins the game, honestly, because the VAR is meant to be for clear and obvious things, and to me, the ref's in the perfect spot to give that a foul on the pitch. Why does he need to go and look at it on the screen? And he's looked at it about 10 times before he's made his decision. If it was that clear and obvious, he has one look at it and gives it a foul. Absolute crap, mate. Absolute crap, and it cost us the game. And he did it all game for Villa. He was on every little thing he gave to Villa, and he gave absolutely nothing to us. And he really needs to look into. I'm trying to explain it. I'm trying to explain it in a nice way because yesterday I was fuming, absolutely fuming. But what is it every week?
I'm with you. So... I'm with you, man. Rob, Liam makes that very key statement. Clear and obvious,
mate. That's it.
We get these reports back from Stockley Park, from the FA, about how VAR is only there to overturn clear and obvious errors on the pitch. Is that a clear and obvious error from the referee to miss that foul? Because look, fair enough, there is contact. There is contact. Villa, from the highlights, I couldn't really judge how hard they were appealing. I think Douglas Luiz got booked. I don't know whether it was a protest.
There was all 11 Villa players just instantly swarmed the ref, and Lianco was the only Saints player still on the pitch, and he was trying to get between the Villa players and the ref, and that's why Luiz got booked. I think Liam makes a really good point, clear and obvious, right? So I put out a tweet on the replay, and the comments from Villa fans are just incredibly mind-boggling. I don't think they share a brain between us, to be honest. But I think with that, you have to instantly look at the linesman's reaction. He runs straight back to the centre circle, which probably means he hasn't noticed anything. So you're thinking, right, okay, well, that's all right. You see you see 11 Villa players completely swarm the referee. First and foremost, that shouldn't be allowed to happen anyway, which is why I think Douglas Luiz obviously was booked. Liam's correct. He goes over to the monitor, views it for 30 seconds. As he says, if it's that clear and obvious, then it's simply, it's not obvious enough for him. Did the referee 100% make a big mistake? No, he didn't, because if you go and watch it now, Jacob Ramsey takes a step before he falls over, right? So he even said it in the post match. He said, I felt contact, so I went down, and I was thinking, God, for God's sake, there's no. I completely understand. If I was a Saints player, I'd want them to. I completely understand that, but was it clear and obvious enough to chalk off a goal? Probably not. Did the referee?
I'm not being funny. Sorry to interrupt, but I'm not being funny. But you've got to be made of helium, surely, if Elyounoussi can put you to the ground.
Exactly right. I mean, I know he stood on the back of his ankle, but come on, it's not enough to go down. It's just stupid. It's in a game as big as that as well, for us anyway. It's ridiculous. And I thought, as Liam said, I'll keep it short for you, Dan, but as Liam said, I thought the refereeing performance yesterday was nothing short of an absolute disgrace. Wouldn't shock me if in 3 days' time we get a tweet out from the FA saying we've made an error in the Saints Aston Villa game, but it's just not good enough, is it? We watched Salisbury numerous times this season. He's been under par in every single refereeing performance he's done. But that's all I'll say on it. I think it's an absolute disgrace, to be honest.
What does a statement do? What good does a statement do? I'd rather they stay quiet, to be honest. They're so far up their own backsides. But obviously, decisions didn't go for us. And we have to be critical about the fact that once again, we concede from a set piece.
Exactly.
But for me, if it hasn't alarmed anyone else, I think everyone's going to be alarmed now. Lack of a striker or a clinical striker.
Ooh.
And it's, what's the date? 22nd of January. And we're still waiting on any sort of link. I think the fact that Sekou Mara hasn't been given a start after his goal against City in these two games is, it's up for debate.
Speaks for itself, right?
Well, let's see if he scores again tomorrow, because on Tuesday even. Because I think if he scores again on Tuesday, that's when you got a bit starting to talk about the league. But Liam, no more league games, if I'm quite right in saying, until after the transfer window, which I think is quite a nice little distraction, personally. How confident are you that when we go to, I think Brentford's the next league game, isn't it? When we go to Brentford, we're going to have a new striker in our squad? Are you confident?
No, not at all. Not at all. We spoke about on Thursday, didn't we, about the links. It's just getting worse and worse and worse. And we haven't had one since probably Thursday when they all come out. It's absolute crap from the club, to be honest. They're just coming out with a load of crap. But I don't know, mate, because I'll tell you what, I tweeted out something earlier about Adam Armstrong's chance on Saturday. A lot of people giving him stick, which one I kind of feel bad for him for, because one, the ball's bouncing up as he's hit it. Two, if he gets that in the corner, my personal view is getting blocked by Ashley Young. You can see them both sliding in. I think he's hit it well. It's just unfortunate that obviously Martino saved it, but obviously those chances are going to cost us, and with us not having an actual proper striker, it's frustrating because we've got no one to go up to, and bringing off Che after 60 minutes, it shows what position we're in when he's not good enough, and Sekou's young, and Adam Armstrong just can't score to save his life lesson. But yeah, it's a frustrating one because we keep relying on Prowsey and no one else is chipping in, and it just kind of sums it up when Prowsey
No, I
scores again
agree.
on Saturday and it doesn't get allowed. But a lot of these players got to start looking at themselves and think, I need to do something better. But obviously not. I just don't see where the striker is going to come from, to be honest, mate.
Yeah, it's I don't know. It's a tough one, but we've got 3 strikers there who I don't know. I honestly, I'm lost for words. It's
To be fair,
I love
can you class Armour as a wing, as a striker now? Seeing as
He's
been
playing him
training
more
as
as a winger now, isn't he?
for like literally like the last 6-7 months. I just
I don't think he started a game up
blows my
front all
mind.
season.
No, I don't think he has. It just blows my mind completely. I mean, I've said enough on the last stream, but the striker situation is a joke. Toko Ekambi's rejected us now as well. So what the hell? Toko Ekambi, the 30-year-old playing in France with 4 league goals all season. I don't understand where a striker is going to come from. A competent striker that's actually going to want to come here. I just don't see it, and that's entirely on the board. They've put us in a situation now where players we need won't want to come. That's the situation that they've put us in, and it's their job to dig us out. And the only way that you can incentivize a player to come to a club at the bottom of the league and facing relegation is money. So we can't afford with what 8 days, 9 days left of the window to fanny about, over 2 or 3 mil. Like we can't do that. We're not in the position to hold player power at all. So I think Rasmus has just got to pull his thumb out and just get it sorted. Like, for God's sake, please. We're literally on our knees here. Like you saw at the weekend, right? Che Adams, even though he was offside, he did his best to mess up that offside chance and end up with Walker. I wasn't going in, right? Someone was going to get there. Luckily, it was Walker Peters, but it was offside anyway. Like you can't have if you're in a City group model, a multi-group model, and your main club is facing relegation, which is going to put Gustepe in a worse off financial position, going to drain Dragan's pockets and the overall club, and the people who work at the club and some of the players would leave, the fans, for crying out loud. You can't put us in a worse situation by not signing a striker, which is so bloody obvious. That's our only hope of keeping us up. It completely blows my mind. And yes, Iheanacho, perfect. Why not? Go to Leicester. They probably will rip our eyes out, but at this point, we need him, right?
But we said last week, January, you always have that inflation. You're always going to have it. You're always going to have inflation, and it is the fact that our record transfer fee still is 20 million. And look, don't get me wrong. I'm an advocate of these cheap deals that end up being bargains. A lot of our big money players haven't been successful. But we've got you got to show some ambition now. Apologies, we are still waiting on our Newcastle fan. That is my fault. I thought I sent him the link. Didn't send.
I'm right. We're waiting, to be honest with you.
But we can still talk about.
I don't think it helps when he brings on Orsic with 10 minutes to go and puts him on the right.
God.
But then
this guy, yeah.
Do you not think that potentially he's considering Tuesday night? Do you think Tuesday night was ever in Jones's mind?
Honestly, I don't care about. I'd love to get to a major final, but honestly, Newcastle's going to be, if we get a win on Tuesday, fantastic. But if we lose, I don't really mind losing to Newcastle. They're a massive club. They've got all this crappy oil money and everything. They can have it. But when we bring on our main goal scoring threat, this guy is traditional for cutting in on the left hand side and putting in that top corner. All his goals are like that.
He's got 15 goals and assists this season already in 14 games.
And we're bringing him on. And we're bringing on 10 minutes to go, and we put him on the right hand side. Left winger, for Christ's sakes. Same with Dozy. He puts him on the right.
It's thick, isn't it? It's just completely thick.
Fantastic game on the right against Palace. Then he does it again. I'm just thinking, why are we putting our best players in a position that they're not playing in their actual position? It winds me up.
So we got Orsic on the right, okay, and then Elianusi in a pivot next to Diallo, not Lavia. It's just Jones has done really well putting JWP in the 10 role. That's brilliant. But Orsic, for crying out loud, like you saw him when he was on the right. The only time he got the ball, he would look to cut in, but on his left peg, he couldn't really do much. So it's so frustrating when we have someone who he is one of the most clinical left wingers in I say minor European league, obviously, but he's done it in the Champions League.
Mm.
We literally we're so lucky to have this guy here, right? And he puts him on the right with 10 minutes to go. I put a tweet out like halfway through the second half saying, look, Armour come off, bring Orsic on, instant switch, and he gives him 8 minutes when we're already 1-0 down. Like, what is the point? Genuinely, we needed attacking impetus, and he didn't give us it. But you're right, Dan. He could be saving him for Tuesday, and he better start on Tuesday. There's no reason why he shouldn't start on Tuesday. And I'd like to see a little bit of Alcaraz because obviously I'm sure you both read The Athletic. Jacob Tanswell put out a great article about him arriving, late into the box or early into the box, whatever. He's goal scoring number 8.
You need
right?
that. You need that against the best defensive side in the league.
Where did our goal come from at Everton last week? Prowsey running into the box. Where did our offside goal come against Villa? That was Prowsey running into the box. I just don't understand it. It just doesn't make any sense why we have players like that who are capable and now we don't even play a formation that can potentially fit our new £14 million signing in.
Well, we have got our Newcastle fan waiting patiently. But just to wrap up that point, I think if we're talking about the Jones era so far, he's made plenty of mistakes. In terms of improvement and good points, because let's keep it positive, because for crying out loud, we've got a semi-final to focus on now.
Exactly.
And that's a good thing. Despite the relegation battle that will be going on for the rest of the season. Putting Prowsey in the number 10, he has saved James Ward-Prowse this season.
Agreed.
And James Ward-Prowse could well be that striker who ends up scoring the goal somehow to keep us in the Premier League. The defence looks more organised.
Yes, absolutely. By the way,
absolutely, a lot more organised.
Definitely.
I like the system. I like the system.
I like the system. I like the flexibility. I like it. You know what? I actually do like him as a person. That against Everton, after that passion, I was a big fan of that. Big advocate for managers like that. He just needs to work out his best 11, the system that works best, and he needs to learn how to adapt his side to best conform to the opposition he's facing. And I do sympathise because he doesn't have a lot of time to do that. I think a lot of people think that 6 weeks is plenty of time to work it out. It's not. It was never going to be.
Especially when you're not playing games either.
And you're not playing games and you're not learning from these games. Overall,
the defensive, pardon me, the defensive improvement since under Ralph has just been ridiculous, right? We look so much better. And that might be because we bought in DCC next to Salisu. But
I
like it.
Agree.
I still think we're quite sloppy a bit though. Like we defend well, but we just give the ball away back to
we can't pass
and that's going to come. And that's going to come. But anyway, we have got Matty from the Magpie channel who's been waiting patiently. Apologies, mate, for the lack of link. But how are you? And thanks for coming on.
No problem, mate. Afternoon, boys. How we doing?
Afternoon, mate. You all right?
Yeah, good.
All good, mate. All good,
right, well, for us anyway, obviously, I guess not for you guys, because every football match for you is a delight. But a very welcome distraction from the Premier League for us. A major cup semi-final. Newcastle United, we were looking at the stats. The last time they got to the League Cup final, 1976, the same year Southampton won the FA Cup, their only major trophy. Matty, mate, like, how does it feel? Because there's been so much talk about, was it 68 years this year since Newcastle last won a major trophy? Such a big football club. It's a giant. Finals haven't come that regularly, or semi-finals haven't really come that regularly. How does it feel?
Mate, mental. Absolutely mental. I mean, when we first started talking a couple of years ago, it's a different Newcastle now, isn't it? Yeah. Every year we were in a relegation battle. Every single bastard year we were in a relegation battle. But now things are on the up. Do you know what I mean? Top 4 this season, 3rd, semi-final. Total dreamland. Being a Newcastle fan at the minute compared to what we've been used to. And like you said, I've never even seen us in a final. You know what I mean? We were in a final like 99, so I was a bit too young for that one. Already got Wembley sorted. So fingers crossed there. That's not a bit of a jinx, but I know there's thousands of Newcastle fans that have done the same. But we kind of get ahead of ourselves because look at Hughes beat Man City in the last game, and every Newcastle fan when that draw was happening was, we'll just avoid Man City, we'll get Wembley. You got to give yourselves credit. Southampton, can turn up on the night like they did against City.
When you saw that draw being made for the semi-final, how pleased were you to see Newcastle drawn at home for the second leg?
Massive. I think that once City actually went out, I wouldn't have been scared of Manchester United. to be honest with you. But you have to, the difference of how the legs play out can't be underestimated, because we could lose on Tuesday night 1-0, 2-0, and I think I'd still be confident of going through on the second leg. I really would. The atmosphere at St James's Park is unbelievable at the moment. It's electric. I mean, Leicester in the quarter-final were beaten before the whistle was even kicked. You know what I mean? But that's how good it is. So I think we could come back if we had to. But having that home advantage on the night to decide it is huge.
Well, Liam, you and I have talked off camera and stuff about our run to the semi-final, to the final in 2017, and how that obviously getting Liverpool in that semi-final in the 2 legs, and winning that game 1-0, we absolutely battered them, and we said it's probably not enough. But going to Anfield, like, this is notorious for atmosphere. Liverpool in semi-finals. I mean, that's in their DNA. But somehow we managed the game and we won again. Do you take any confidence? I know obviously it's a completely different side, completely different manager. This was 6 years ago. But surely we've got to take some confidence that we did do that relatively recently. We went up against one of the big boys. The second leg was away, but we still managed to get through. Do you take confidence from that?
Yeah, definitely. I think the past few years in the cup we've kind of been a different animal, and obviously with the cup game against City and Palace, it just gives you a bit of confidence, because I think these players go in with no pressure. And I really think things could happen again, especially with Liverpool. All the Liverpool fans are already chanting, we're at Wembley, we've got Southampton, easy side. And I think we can see that with Newcastle as well, when they were chanting after the Palace game, we're going to Wembley. And look, obviously, I know things with Newcastle are fantastic at the moment. They definitely are the favourites, and I do think they will get to the final against getting past us. But may history hopefully repeat itself when we get through. But I don't know. It's going to be a difficult game, and I think the first leg, as long as we come out of a clean sheet, I'll be happy on Tuesday. But I don't think that'll happen.
Matthew, defensive record for Newcastle, the best in the Premier League. Okay, recently it seems that the goals have dried up a little bit, but you're still getting those points, you're still getting those results. Callum Wilson not necessarily hitting the back of the net as regularly as I'm sure he and Newcastle fans would like to see him do. But what do you expect from this Southampton side on Tuesday night? Obviously, Southampton were the last team to score a goal against Newcastle. That was Ralph Hasenhüttl's final game in charge of the club back in November. What do you expect? What do you expect from this Saints team? Do you expect a side lack of confidence? Obviously, do you read? I guess what I'm trying to say is, do you read into the fact that Southampton are still bottom of the Premier League table when going into this game?
No, because that's the same mistake that Manchester City made just a couple of weeks ago. You can't look at the Premier League table in cup games. You look at that's why everyone talks about cup upsets. That's why Sheffield Wednesday knocked us out the FA Cup. Now that was a much weakened side. Obviously, we'll go to St Mary's with a full starting 11. Thankfully, Bruno Guimaraes is fit. And like you said, the goals have dried up. That's the concern. 1 goal in 4 games now for Newcastle. I think it might be time to swap Callum Wilson for Alexander Isak. Now, our record signing struggled for game time, really, because he's been injured for 3.5-4 months. So could be the time to start him, because we haven't seen him start a game since September. So it could be time to start him. Do you look to maybe start an Alan St. Maximin, because he's been on the bench a lot? But I probably don't think Eddie Howe will. I think Eddie Howe will be concentrating on that second leg. I think he'd probably take a draw. I don't think he'll go there for a draw. But if you said 0-0 now, you'd fancy St James's Park to get it over the line and get it done to get to a final. I think the important thing is to limit Southampton, limit the dangerous players like Gineppo, who we've seen on City, score a screamer, limit shots from outside the box like that. I know you're laughing because he's probably not dangerous every week, but he was in that City game. Do you know what I mean? Because he was in that City game. He was brilliant in that City game. He's a bit like, St. Maximin can be like that. Everyone thinks he's amazing, but that's just because he looks amazing on Match of the Day. You don't watch him for 90 minutes every week. But yeah, there's dangerous players in there that can cause Newcastle problems. Don't give away fucking free kicks. That's what I would say. Don't give away any free kicks. Don't give away any penalties, right? Try and limit set pieces, and I think we'll be all right. Because, like I say, it's 6 consecutive clean sheets in a row now for Nick Pope. He's been amazing. The defence itself has been top class. So keep things tight at St Mary's, and then we'll probably look to get the job done at St James's Park.
I'm sure Rob loved hearing the words Gineppo and dangerous in the same sentence.
Absolutely love it, man. Absolutely love it.
But just, I know you're tight on time, mate. Just to kind of wrap up, who's the player that we should be looking for? I know it's like trying to pick your favorite car out of Cristiano Ronaldo's garage. You know, there's so many stars there, but who do you think is going to be the main threat? Who's going to be the key for Newcastle? The difference between getting knocked out and Wembley for Newcastle United.
I think Bruno. I think Bruno Guimaraes, because he's going to dictate play. We've seen not that you lot and everyone in the chat want to be reminded of that goal he scored last season at St Mary's, but he's got that something special in him. You know what I mean? He's got that. He can control games. He can pick the pass. But it's just the worrying thing is Wilson's form at the minute. Can Isak come in and do something different? Almiron's purple patch seems to have ended now. You know, Miggy was on fire. He scored at St Mary's earlier in the season, opened the scoring. So I think we've got to look at Bruno. We've got to look at Bruno Guimaraes being the star player, middle of the park, and making things happen going forward.
Word for Nick Pope if it goes to penalties. Would he come into it?
Yeah, I mean,
he's so important with that defensive record. We
got past Palace on penalties in the third round, I think it was, of this cup. So early on, we had to get through it on penalties. Pope made 2 or 3 stops in that shootout. So the confidence he's on at the minute, mate, he's absolute class. He's in the form of his life.
Yeah. So first leg, and you say even if Southampton were to win 1-0, you'd feel confident still. Do you reckon?
Oh, with me, I think, because then that would give us encouragement and enticement to really go for it in the second leg. I think that we would just completely go for it, and with the sold out St James's Park on a Tuesday night, it would be absolutely bouncing. I think the atmosphere would carry the lads over the line, even if they needed to be. But I just think we're a different animal at home. You know, we haven't lost at home for a year now under Eddie Howe, so that is an absolute fortress. St James's Park, it's ridiculous.
Is that in all competitions?
Yeah.
Jealous.
It was like Liverpool end of last season, you know, like, so it's crazy the run of form we're on at St James's Park, and with a defensive record of match, I think 1-0. If we lost 1-0 at St Mary's, we could go on and score 2 at St James's Park and get the job done. But I'm confident on Tuesday night, boys. I am. I don't think it'll be an easy game, because I don't know what you make of Nathan Jones. You see a lot more of him than I do, but he seems to be on about switching his systems a lot. And you know, I seen the City game. Obviously, that was probably the best one to watch for you. And like Rob was laughing at Gineppo, but he did look dangerous that night. So these players can turn up. If these players can turn up on these occasions, St Mary's, it's not going to be easy. It's not going to be easy, and we're struggling for goals. I think it'll be a 1-0 or a 1-1 on Tuesday night.
Well, no, we will try and get you back for that second leg, and I'm sure it'll be interesting. It'll be an interesting discussion. Maybe Newcastle will be through to Wembley, or we could be having one foot in there as well. But thank you so much for coming on, mate. Do appreciate your time. Everyone, make sure to check out the Magpie channel. The link is in the description. And I will see you on your channel in about 25 minutes or so.
Spot on. Cheers, mate.
Thank you.
Cheers, mate. Thank you.
Wow.
He's
semi-final.
Confident.
He is confident. He is confident.
He should be confident.
You can't blame him. You can't blame him.
You absolutely
can't
should
blame
be.
him.
Absolutely should be.
I think there are lots of similarities between this game and the preparation for the Man City game. But obviously now, knowing that we were capable of beating Man City, Liam, are you confident that we can go and put in a performance that we need to, like we did against City, manage the game, get that result, get that first step? I know it's going to be incredibly hard to score probably more than one goal against what is the Premier League's best defence at the moment. But it's a different competition. How are you feeling? What are your thoughts at the moment?
Obviously, I'm not confident, you know what I mean? But none of us were when we went to the City game. Only 20-odd thousand there, you get what I mean? No one expected us to go and beat City. They have a great defensive record too, and you look at what happened in that game. We won 2-0. We looked very convincing. We didn't give them a shot on target. But the problem for me is, listening to Matt was saying that Almiron and Wilson on a purple patch and they haven't scored in 1 in 4 games. It's typical for us to then let them score all those goals. And it's a difficult one, because I don't know what the hell Jones is going to play at, what he's going to play on Tuesday, or he's going to keep a similar team. For me, he'll probably end up bringing in El Yunusi and just the players you probably don't want to see. I really hope Siku starts as well. I think the same with Borsic as well, but I don't know. I'm just intrigued whether
Yeah, that's a
Alcaraz will
good
get some
word.
minutes, but he didn't bring him on Saturday, so I don't know, but whatever it is, we just got to go in it and go for it. I don't want to see us on the back foot. Just go for it. If we lose, we lose. We win. Just main focus for me is staying up, even though I'd love to be in the cup final, but it's what it
Rob,
is.
how much of that do you echo?
Yeah, I think the thing that's most important for this club at the moment is to stay in the Premier League. But if you it's such a tight one, because I've been thinking about this personally. Like, if you offered me three points in the league right now, or we go to St James's Park 1-0 up, I probably would take your 3 points happily. I think Matty's right. I think if we draw or are only up by a goal going up to St James's Park, I think it's still toast for us. The place is just completely formidable, and I can't believe if you'd told me a year ago I'd be saying those words. Honestly, I wouldn't believe you. But I think Liam's right. You know, people. For me, I got a lot of shit on Twitter for not going to the game against City. Even though I couldn't, first and foremost, but I was never, if I could, I wouldn't have. I just really wish we got something at Villa to bring into this game. I think confidence would be so important. I think in terms of what Liam said, I do agree. I think it's important for confidence that we get something on Tuesday, or at least show a decent performance for the fans, because at the end of the day, semi-finals, anything can happen, right? I know it's 2 legs, which is a shame, but if we can stifle them and stop them from creating open play chances like we did against Villa and not be stupid on set pieces, then there's no reason why we couldn't actually get something and then go up to St James's Park with a little bit of confidence. I mean, as someone, I know you boys are going to be up there as well, but we've all got invested interest in doing well in this first part anyway. So our trip up to St James's isn't just going to be I've got an 8-hour train now. But I think it'll be really, really important for the boys to show up. An interesting question I've seen a lot of people put is, well, should the players who performed well against Man City start on Tuesday? In my opinion, I think we have to start our strongest team. In terms of what Jones believes that is and what I think it is might be completely different. So players like for example Gineppo, I know he played well against Man City and he looked all right. But if he's going to play on the left, right, I'd rather Orsic come in and play there. So it is, I'm not sure. There's so many ways that you can interpret this match. It's crazy, and it all happens on what happens in the first 45 minutes over the 90.
Well, Liam said it earlier, intriguing. I definitely think it is intriguing, absolutely. And I think for a neutral, it's probably intriguing. But the thing is, strongest team for me right now, that can't include our 2 new players because we've hardly seen them.
That's fair.
As much as I'd like to see Orsic, Alcaraz, I'm not overly sure on yet because I haven't seen enough. We don't know anything on him. Orsic, obviously, we've watched in the Champions League and the Europa League and the Conference League.
Doesn't help if we don't play him though. We're never going to know.
No, I completely agree. But I think the only argument is how much is Nathan Jones going to prioritise this competition? And personally, I want to see it prioritised, because the thing is with the League Cup, and this is what I'm quite pleased about. I mean, God knows how we do in the FA Cup. We may play all the kids against Blackpool and still go through. Who knows? But with the League Cup, the competition's done by the end of February. And it's only 3 more games. So we're lucky in the sense that our position in the Premier League is, albeit dire, we're not cut adrift at all. 1 win changes everything. So I kind of feel that, for me, I'd like to prioritise. You say, would you rather go to St James's Park with a 1-0 lead, or would you rather have got, let's say, get 3 points against Villa? I disagree. I would have taken the 1-0 because it gives you the platform. And I think that's just down to personal preference. I completely agree that the Premier League is the priority. Survival is going to have to be the key. But because the Carabao Cup is only 3 more games, 2 of which are within the next week, we have got and those games are played over a period where we're not playing in the league. that is why I would rather prioritise the League
The
Cup
reason-
at the moment.
Yeah, I mean that all makes sense. I mean, either way, right? It's a win-win, literally. But I think with the 3 points, Jones spoke a lot about the mental fortitude of seeing the club outside of the bottom three, which we haven't really been outside the bottom three for 99% of the season. So I think I saw someone say, if we won, if we got 3 points, we would have been 15th, 16th, which I think would have been huge. But I understand. So if we were to win on Tuesday, go to St James's Park and put in a good performance, that could galvanise us to perform better in games coming up, find a little bit more form. Overall, a trip to Wembley, is a great thing. Obviously, it's like a day
a
out
rare
for
thing.
everyone. It's incredibly rare, and maybe that could kickstart our route to survival, because at the moment for me that the league is just so important. But yeah, I think I'm just feeling really deflated. I don't know which way to go. I think Tuesday's going to be such a tough match. This team is so good. Every single one of them. It's a team where every single player has hit form of their lives at the same time. It's just one of them, and that's just down to great coaching by Eddie Howe. It really is. But yeah, I'm sure we'll do score predictions in a minute. But I'm really trying to think about which way I want it to go.
I just want to bring back this comment. I think this is absolutely spot on. I completely agree. We go there with a 2-goal lead. I think we go through. 1 goal, and it's not enough. One goal and anything else. We absolutely have to win by 2 goals to give ourselves a very good chance, because that is one thing I have noticed about this side. And I said it earlier, we do look more defensively organised. Okay, sure. It's going to be a howling atmosphere at St James's, but I back this side. Maybe that's naive, but I do back this side if we were to go there with a 2-goal lead to get ourselves through. But we'll have to see. In terms of players, in terms of personnel, firstly, both of you, do you start with a back 5 or a back 4? Because last 2 league games we've done the back 4. It's probably gone better than the back 5 from the start. I think it's probably at a push. But do you go for that sort of setup, or do you go for something a bit more similar to how we set up against Man City? Liam, you first.
All right. Do you want I'll give you my personal preference and what I.
That is all I'm asking for, my friend.
So my personal preference, I'd change it up a bit. I'd go Baz in goal. Probably not, but it's either him or Willie Caballero. I'd go with flat back 4, and I think he needs to change it up. I'd go Carl at right back, then I'd have probably Lianco and Duche, and Roman at left back. I'm not a big fan of Salisu lately, even though I think he's a good one-on-one defender. He's so sloppy with the ball, and he always gives it away pointlessly. I'd go 3 midfield. I'd go Lavia as the main number 6. I think that's where his best position is. I don't think he's that great in a double pivot, so I don't think he's not relying on his passing enough. I'd probably go with Alcaraz, give him a game. Why not? What have we got to lose? And Ward-Prowse, where I think, even though he's been fantastic at 10, I really think him as a right-sided 8, we do get a really good shift out of him. And then front 3, maybe a Dozy on the right, Mara in the middle, and Norsich on the left. That's my personal preference.
I
But
like
do I
that.
think it's going to go with that?
Yeah,
No.
I do like it.
I quite like that, to be honest, Liam. I really do.
I'd happily see that. I'd be
keen.
I'm not going to give you my full lineup, but I do want to see a Sekou Mara start. That is what I'm asking for, I think, the most. And I want to see Orsic, because let's be honest, if he's not going to start this game, 100% he'll start against Blackpool. We've got one of the most exciting forwards, or most talked about forwards outside of Europe's top 5 leagues. And I think that's a fair statement to make.
That's incredibly fair.
Definitely.
Incredibly fair, Dan.
I think that's a fair statement to make. We've got one of the most talked about forwards outside the top 5 leagues, mainly because obviously from an English perspective, he scored against probably half the Premier League already in European competition.
Is it 4 clubs now?
Yeah, 4. No, not quite. A fifth of the Premier League. A fifth of the Premier League. Well, goals are our issue. It's so refreshing, isn't it? This is my favourite thing about this football club. When they're struggling to defend, they're scoring a decent amount, and when they're struggling to score, they're getting a bit better at defending.
Can't find balance, can we?
You can't find the balance, and that is where Newcastle United have got it absolutely spot on. But Rob, personnel, what are you thinking?
I really like Liam's setup. I can't lie. A 4-3-3, that would be nice. I think there's one. So I said earlier, I really like the system. I do like the 4-2-3-1. I think we look better with that, not only defensively but also offensively, changing into a back three when we try to build up possession with the ball, progress it forward. One thing really does scare me, and that's Lianco against St. Maximin if it happens. That's really scary. I think that's just a walking red card, right?
100%.
I probably wouldn't go full lineup because I wouldn't know which way to put it. I think that the key points is Diallo probably hasn't done enough to start the next game for me. I thought off the ball he was all right. He did do well chasing some lost balls, and he did recover them nicely. But on the ball he was atrocious. The thing with Orsic and Edozie is they're both the best on the left. So for me, I'd start Orsic, give him a good 65, 70 minutes, maybe even more. Depends on the game, obviously. And then maybe introduce Edozie to kind of have a little run at Trippier, who's obviously a fantastic fullback. The Mara versus Che conversation is interesting. I think Che didn't play great at the weekend. He can't finish. But Mara up against Botman, that doesn't fill me with a lot of confidence. And I think the only way which we'll get through Newcastle's press is over the top. So maybe Che does get the start for me. But again, it would be great to have a number 9 option, wouldn't it? But I think I think Salisu and DCC have to stay as the centre back pairing.
Yeah.
Especially if Lianco plays right back. I think they do look good. I agree, Liam. Salisu has some shit scary moments where you oh my god, what are you thinking, pal? Or he just looks like he's just gangly. But DCC is so important to that squad. And then Perot coming in, I wouldn't be against it. As I said, I thought Carl looked a lot better on the right hand side. You saw him take on 2 players towards the end of the game. So maybe for me, it's maybe I will give you my full lineup. Maybe Bazunu, Walker Peters, Seletar, Salisu, Perot. I reckon, why not Maitland-Niles? I think he's got something to prove. He's probably not been the greatest, but maybe he's got something to prove. Next to Lavia. Right hand side, I thought Armour didn't play that badly at the weekend. I thought he was running his little legs off. But I would probably go Armour, Ward-Prowse, Orsic, and then Mara. But obviously with 5 subs, that team can be changed incredibly easily. But yeah, so we'll see what happens. But to be honest with you, if Alcaraz comes in a 4-3-3, I'm all for that, because if we can have him and Prowse arriving in the box, that's stunning. That I want to see that.
I just think the work rate with them two would be just ruthless, because Alcaraz is going to run until his lungs bleed off, and he's typical.
He'll have that dog in him. He'll definitely have that
typical
dog in him.
Argentinian. We don't have enough fight in this squad, though. That's the problem. Maybe him coming in is a bit.
That's what you need against Bruno Guimaraes. It's exactly what you need against Bruno Guimaraes.
Bruno's a fantastic player, technically, but his passion is different gravy. So
well, there you go. Intriguing. I think that's the best word to summarize this.
Absolutely.
Just wanted to bring this comment in. If a 1-0 defeat is the way to start things off, and you saw a lot of good things, I do really fear for you, my friend. But welcome to the club. I'm sure you won't regret it. But boys, it's been an absolute pleasure. Just going to finish up with score predictions very quickly as we are approaching the 50-minute mark. I am going to go 1-0 Southampton.
Nice, Dan. Golly.
Confident.
I wish I could be
so
as
hard
as you, Dan. But when you've had a season ticket this season, you've gone to one home win all season, and there wasn't even a seat where my actual season ticket is. It's not very convincing for me.
I hope you're not sitting there on Tuesday, mate.
Unfortunately, I am. 2-0 Newcastle.
I'm joining you. 2-0 Southampton or 2-0 Newcastle?
No, 2-0 Newcastle, 100%.
I went with my on our last prediction. I went with my head. I went for a 1-1. This time I'll go with my heart. Who knows? Saints turn up 2-0. Saints turn up. We go 2-0. That's my heart. That's my heart. That's my heart. Yeah, Gineppo goal. Gineppo brace. Why not? Go on. Why not? Prove me wrong, Rooster. Please prove me wrong. Show me why you deserve that new contract, bro. Come on.
That first goal, absolutely vital. But it's a completely different beast managing a game across 2 legs. We'll have to see how well Saints manage it. Boys, thank you so much for joining me again. It's been an absolute pleasure, as always. Everyone's links are in the description below. Semi-final. I don't know
Anything can
about you.
happen, Dan.
Anything can happen.
Anything,
Wembley's knocking on the
anything.
door. Thank you everyone for joining us live as well, or if you're watching on the repeat. And yeah, we'll see you next time.
See you guys.
Bye.
Cheers, guys.
Bye.